Hello, and welcome to Tracy Mommy Reads. I am back again with another video. Today, I'm going to be talking about the book No Ordinary Love by Myah Ariel. No Ordinary Love. And I love her cover. She had similar artwork. I don't know if it was by the same person on her debut novel, When I Think of You, is what it was called. Yeah, When I Think of You. And just like that book, and this book is in the romance genre, as you can probably, tell. And it just came out last month, so it's a newish release from that particular author. So let's get into it. The main characters are Ella Simone, who is a pop star who is going through a nasty divorce with her record producer husband. And then you have a baseball player by the name of Miles Westbrook. And like a year or so ago, Miles went through a divorce and it was kind of nasty. He had something to do with his teammates and his wife, So this I would say it's a second chance romance type thing. And basically how their paths cross is they're at the Grammys, right? And the Grammys are doing something with combining like sports and music, and they have a lot of athletes coming to help present, or be co-presenters with singers. And she gets paired with Miles, and after like a wardrobe malfunction that he helps her with, it's obvious they have chemistry, and some stuff happens and photos are taken, and, the tabloids and the blogs and the gossip sites and everything just kind of run wild with it. But like I said, the thing about Ella, like, she's not, fully divorced or untangled from her soon-to-be ex. They've been separated for a while, but, technically she's still married, and the world doesn't know that there are problems, so she's having to keep up that whole facade. So you already know, kind of going into the story, that, okay, they're going to be having to sneak around if anything even happens between the two of them. And her attorney, who's trying to get, her everything, because her ex is trying to like stiff her, not only with like the money, but mainly with like the masters to her music, and, trying to like take credit for everything that she's done, or not giving her credit, because a lot of the stuff they kind of co-wrote and this and that. So they come up with this idea after this whole thing comes out, trying to make it seem like she's cheating on him with, Miles, that, oh, it was just promo for this video, for her next video. So now they have to be in a video together. And, the chemistry is there. And they do, obviously like each other. But again, it's complicated because anything that Ella does at this point is being scrutinized, and it could mess up her bag. It can mess up her getting the rights to her music. So they have to be very, very cautious about being seen together in public. And I will tell you, while I enjoyed the story, because I'm a sucker for a good romance, it's formulaic and you know what's going to happen. I do feel like it was rushed. I mean, the book itself, you could tell, I'm so upset I have like a tear here. I don't know how that happened. The book itself, you could tell it's a small book. These are just some funny things or cute things I flagged. But the book itself is like at 287 pages, or is it more than that? Okay, wait a minute, let's see. Well, it goes to 305. But I don't know. I would have liked, okay, so I feel like a lot of time was spent for Ella to be like in this limbo thing with her ex. It would have been great if that situation could have resolved itself earlier in the book, giving her and Miles more of an opportunity to freely be together and, explore their relationship. But I feel like it was rushed. It was like after the video situation, and we're like halfway through the book at that point. like she does a favor for him with this fundraiser he's doing, and then they do end up hooking up, and then they like sneak off to some place, and something happens with her ex and Miles, and like before you know it, like we're at the end almost, and like their first date where like she goes out to one of his games, which is a very public, venue, and potentially getting seen on like the, I don't think they call them the Jumbotron in baseball, but whatever it's called, potentially being seen on that and seen on national television. She goes out, and that's like a big step in their relationship, because, she was kind of like, I can't be seen, or whatever. But, yeah, I feel like their relationship was rushed. I think we had the advantage in her last book with that couple because they knew each other before. So like I feel like if you have a history with someone, it's easier, like when you're writing characters, if those characters have a history, and then they kind of meet back up or spin the block or whatever later, there were feelings already there. That's already been established. So you're kind of working off the past, but like saying I love you after 2 months was kind of wild to me. And I know, again, it's a romance book, it's par for the course. That's the kind of thing that happens. But I just felt like when they finally got together, it was just rushed. And again, I just wish that would have been flushed out more. Like let's deal with the ex and get over that, and kind of, let them have their second chance at romance for both of them. So I guess I jumped into what I didn't like, but what I did like, obviously, because like I said, I flagged so many pages. I feel like, for this author, like being a romance author, for things that are pretty common, in the romance genre, especially like the second chance trope, or the crazy ex trope and all of that. There can be times when you read books in similar genres with similar tropes, it seems like you're reading the same book, because a lot of the same wording and what do you call it, like explanations, the same descriptions. A lot of stuff is kind of recycled because it becomes like the jargon or the thing that you just kind of hear in these books. And I feel like she does a really good job at coming up with new phrases and ways to say things. Like, for example, when they first meet, she had saw him in the audience. Simone saw him in the audience sitting with his date. But backstage, like they're getting ready to kind of talk about what they're going to do when they go out on stage at the Grammys. And she sees him like, across the room, and she walks over, and it says, like, somehow, just by walking 30 feet, I've traversed a continent and entered a new climate. Like, I feel like that's kind of poetic, like the way that she says some of the things that she says in the book. It has like a very poetic feel about it. It's not just, oh, okay, we've heard this, or they've said that, like, your eyes remind me of the stars in the sky. You've probably heard that or read that in 1,000 books, and she also uses like different words that you don't necessarily associate with descriptive words for like a romance book. For example, when they kiss for the first time, our kiss is incendiary, a match struck in a room filled with kerosene. Okay, because the word itself means to set something on fire, and I don't know if she's just going through thesaurus or what, but that choice of word, I feel like was very well placed. It was very well placed. Yeah. So, like I said, there were parts of the book that I really enjoyed. Her writing style, it just felt rushed to me. As far as any trigger warnings, I don't know. I do feel like to some degree, even though she was technically an adult, like when she got with her ex, like he was much older than her. She was 20. I mean, I don't know. I feel like that was like some grooming going on there, you know. Um, and he obviously cheated on her throughout the marriage. They kind of mentioned that as well. But, you know, and depending on your feelings about it, even though they had been separated for like a year, I think 6 months to a year, I think they had been separated. And she said that the marriage had fallen apart long before that, maybe about 3 years ago, because they've been married for almost a decade. But when her and Miles hook up, she's technically still married. So, you know, if you feel any kind of way about that, you know, that's something to keep in mind. And what I got from the book, you know, as with most of the romance books that feature the second chance trope, you know, first of all, what one person won't do, somebody else will. Okay, keep that in mind. If you over here thinking that you know that you're gonna keep somebody from doing something, or that you're the only bus that's pulling out of the station. You know what I mean? If your relationship is just not what you thought it was going to be, if the person you're with isn't doing what they should do, or they're not honoring you, treating you well, respecting you, there's somebody else out there willing to do it. You know what I mean? And sometimes you just got to open your heart up to receive that, because I know a lot of people, once they've been burned, especially like if you've been in a long-term relationship and you really thought that was your person, they kind of close themselves off to the idea, the thought of love. But you know, the next person may come along and make you realize you didn't even know what love was until you met them. So that's all I gotta say about that. If you have read No Ordinary Love, I would love to know your thoughts. Let me know what you thought about the story in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you like this video and go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you have not taken the opportunity to do so already. And for those of you that have already subscribed, thank you, thank you, thank you. I sincerely appreciate it. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye.